My last video on GazerBeam has blown up recently, so let's go back in and take a closer look at this super. Hi guys, I'm Megan, and welcome to the Fangirl, where I still insist that The Incredibles 2 is the best Pixar movie. Don't agree? That's okay. People are allowed to have different opinions no matter what the internet tries to tell you. Anyways, back in 2019, I did a collaboration project with Josh from the Modern Mouse channel called Pixar Perceptions. That was where a bunch of video essayists covered different Pixar movies, and I chose to cover GazerBeam, and the response lately has been wild. So many people sent me links for the deleted scene of GazerBeam's funeral in The Incredibles 2, and I want to talk about that today. First, if you haven't seen that deleted scene, you should probably go watch that because it's fairly long and copyright strikes are real, so I'm not going to put it all in this video. But I will leave a link in the description below so that you can find that deleted scene easily. All in all though, the gist of that scene is that Mr. Incredible is speaking at a D23-like seminar where he recognizes a lot of fallen superheroes. And I can really see why that scene got deleted because it's kind of clunky and ill-fitting for the rest of the film. Plus, Mr. Incredible goes into an eerie amount of detail about GazerBeam's life, but has absolutely nothing to say about the other fallen supers. Truly, scenes like this one are why I tend to ignore a lot of deleted scenes in movies because in most cases they were deleted for a reason and they're not even canon. It's kind of like that theory that Woody from Toy Story was a prototype, which, yeah, that might have been something that was genuinely discussed and considered, but it's not in the movie, and it ultimately does not work with how the movie takes things. You know, you're just not going to convince me that there was any company dumb enough to make a Prospector doll and a Jessie doll and a Bullseye doll, but then never make a Woody doll when he's the main flipping character and his face is on everything else. The theory just makes no sense. Similarly, a lot of the deleted scenes in The Incredibles 2 were from story arcs that got removed from the script. So you can't just go back in with what the finished product of the film is and say, hey, this works now. It's not canon. They cut it for a reason.
Ultimately, it didn't set the right tone, though, for the movie, so we tossed it.
And with that being said, now I'm gonna go do a theory over a deleted scene, so take what I have to say with a grain of salt. As I said in my previous GazerBeam video, it's really odd to me that the government didn't go into Syndrome's Island and collect the bodies of the dead supers. And in fact, we have proof of this in one of the official book releases. The Incredifiles uses a picture that shows GazerBeam from a new angle not seen in the previous movie. And here in the text, it says, artist rendition of Bob Parr's description of GazerBeam at his resting place, the island of Nomanasan. So that just confirmed that no one other than Mr. Incredible has ever seen that body, let alone been able to DNA test it to make sure that it's real. To that same point, the deleted funeral scene is actually a eulogy. A eulogy is a speech or piece of writing that praises someone or something highly, typically someone who's just died. And even though it's a deleted scene and not fully finished, there are no caskets, there are no grave sites. So even that scene seems to confirm that no bodies have ever been recovered. But what strikes me as really unusual about that eulogy is that it doesn't come off as the death of a superhero so much as the birth of a villain. GazerBeam's secret identity, Simon Palladino, is described very negatively. It's almost like some FBI profile for a serial killer on the loose. Mr. Incredible, one of Simon's closest friends, says that he was an outcast and a loner, that they had to talk Simon into putting his powers to hero work. And Simon did, begrudgingly, but he didn't sound very happy about it. He didn't even like the name that Mr. Incredible forced onto him.
I myself came up with the name GazerBeam. He didn't like it.
Simon actually wanted to call himself Viewpoint.
Viewpoint he liked. He'd say,
how about Viewpoint?
Which does highlight that Simon had a different set of beliefs, or at least a different point of view from other superheroes. All of this eulogy feels like a lot of clues that Simon really wasn't overjoyed to be a superhero. And even after Mr. Incredible's speech starts talking about how GazerBeam worked his way into being a first-class crime fighter, it's then very ominously stated that
for a while he fit in.
Then, as superheroes became outlawed, Simon used all of his efforts to try and change things through the court system. That ruckus got Simon on Syndrome's radar, and then suddenly, the eulogy shifts its negative vibe onto Syndrome. Syndrome gets described as exploiting and victimizing heroes who just wanted to be useful again. But then the deleted scene cuts to a flashback of GazerBeam sitting in a cave injured and burning Kronos into the wall, which is what alerted Mr. I to Syndrome's plan in the first movie. Now again, GazerBeam's body was never recovered, so that entire flashback had to be a fantasy in Bob's head. There's literally nobody at that funeral who can say exactly what happened to Simon Palladino, and that's where we get some room to play with this theory. Nothing about GazerBeam really sounds like a heroic type. Even his work for superhero rights wasn't really to benefit the world. It was all to benefit himself and what he wanted, which was allegedly to feel useful again. So if Simon had gotten a victory that reversed all of the superhero banning laws, then not only could GazerBeam be in the limelight again, but so could boring, unnoticeable Simon. You know, when being a superhero is shown to be an obsession and being publicly powerful is like an addiction, then let's not forget that most addicts will do anything to get another fix. So why, after hearing GazerBeam's backstory, should we believe that the reclusive outcast loner Buddy Pines would see Simon as an enemy? These guys sound like two sides of the same coin. And as we see with the Parr family, being a superhero does not really pay well. I mean, it's not like the Parrs are millionaires or anything, even though they spent years being A-list celebrity heroes who even had their own theme songs written about them. So something does not add up. For Simon Palladino to go on a legal crusade, he would literally need so much money. It is not cheap to go into a courtroom battle, and even if you do succeed at reversing the law, it's not like you're going to get any kind of financial compensation. So all of that time, that money, that effort has to be out of your own pocket. Not to mention, a court case that actually reverses the law can take years and years to get a verdict. And that means that even if Simon were his own lawyer, he would have to make advocacy his full-time job. And that usually means no pay. How did he live? How did he even have the money to file suits or gain any support? So Simon had to have a financial backer. And since DevTech didn't take the credit for that, which Winston Dever totally would have, I don't think that money came from them. So the only other person we have left that we know of in this entire universe is Buddy Pine and his endless stream of weapons money. And supporting hero rights would actually be something in Buddy's own favor. His plan was to basically kill all of the top tier heroes and then come out as the only one who could defeat the Omnidroid. But if Syndrome didn't get those laws out of the way, he would step into the light and then end up in cuffs 10 minutes later, which is exactly what happens to the Incredible family after they fight the Underminer. So yes, Pixar definitely thought about that angle. Don't tell me I'm overthinking it. So immediately we have one solid connection between Syndrome and GazerBeam. Then there's the issue of Syndrome not having any powers, yet coming out to mock the heroes right before he kills them. I mean, it seemed like every chance that Buddy got, he came out to say, "This is why I'm killing you and why." And when that happens, heroes like Mr. Incredible are actually at a pretty big disadvantage. If your power is super strength or something else that is not really a distance-worthy power, you have to be super close to Buddy to be effective. So if you throw something or you come running up on Syndrome, he has time to react and deflect or even fly away. But GazerBeam? Syndrome could be half a mile away and that eye blast would hit him at the speed of light. There would be very little time to react. And since GazerBeam is described as a top tier hero, I imagine that he would have the speed and accuracy to cut Syndrome down in a second, which means GazerBeam and Syndrome working together would make the most sense. Plus, no matter how much of a fanboy that Buddy is, there's still going to be intimate details about the different heroes that he's just not going to be able to know. So Buddy needs an insider to be successful. Case in point, we think that Mirage tracked down Mr. Incredible because he knocked down a building, but the police description of those assailants would have very little that anybody could use to match to Mr. Incredible or Bob Parr. But if Buddy and Simon were really BFFs, F's, then we already know that Simon and Bob knew each other's secret identities because Bob reacts to Simon going missing in the newspaper. I've already done a theory about how that newspaper has a wonky date, and I think that it's a plant from Syndrome. But yeah, that newspaper comes into the movie at the same time that Mirage is tailing Bob and confirming that he's the one. So clearly, somebody tipped Buddy off on who to look at. The bigger question, though, is what happened to GazerBeam? Did he and Buddy have a falling out? Did Gazy have a change of heart after killing other superheroes and seeing that he was becoming the villain? Or is Simon still alive and hiding out somewhere, just trying to quietly pull strings and make things happen in his favor? I honestly can't say. However, I think the evidence is kind of overwhelming that GazerBeam and Syndrome had a long-term working relationship. It might not be reality, but theories are more fun. That ruckus got Simon on Syndrome's radar. Syndrome. The bigger question, though, is what happened to GazerBeam? I did a collaboration project with Josh from the Modern Mouse channel. Well, family members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, "Hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that?" Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Family. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Family and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. People who watch to the end of videos like you helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, family members. Bye.